Success is rarely just about talent. More often, it's about how you show up. The world doesn't just reward those who are capable. It rewards those who carry themselves like they already belong. Presence speaks before words ever do. Long before anyone knows your name, your energy tells a story. That's why learning to act as if you've done this before is so powerful. It isn't about pretending. It's about stepping into a level of confidence that tells the world, I'm ready for this. There is a silent power in composure. When you walk into a room with steady shoulders and calm eyes, people take notice. They lean in, they listen, not because they know your background or your credentials, but because your posture suggests experience. You don't have to announce your authority when your presence radiates it. That's the kind of presence that creates impact. That's the kind of energy that opens doors before you even reach for the handle. The truth is, people often treat you based on the cues you give them. If you show up unsure, hesitant, or overly self-conscious, the world mirrors that back to you. But when you carry yourself like someone who's been there, like someone who knows what they're doing, you command a different level of respect. It's not about being cocky or arrogant. It's about being grounded. It's about being so connected to your purpose that you no longer feel the need to prove yourself in every moment. You walk in already convinced. This mindset is what separates the amateurs from the professionals, not just in career paths, but in life. A professional doesn't walk into an opportunity wondering if they deserve to be there. They've already decided they do. They've made peace with the process. They've chosen to trust their preparation. So even when something is new, they don't treat it like unfamiliar territory. They treat it like the next chapter they've been preparing for all along. Think about the most poised individuals you've seen. They don't flinch under pressure. They don't rush to fill silence. They don't stumble over uncertainty. Why? Because they've trained themselves to carry a calm certainty that anchors every step they take. That's what acting as if you've done this before really means. It's not a lie. It's a leadership decision. It's you choosing to show up in alignment with your potential rather than shrinking to your past. When you move with that kind of certainty, people follow your lead. They sense something different in you. They feel safer around you, more inspired by you, and more likely to believe in your vision. You become magnetic, not because you're the loudest voice in the room, but because you carry the kind of stillness that only comes from inner assurance. That kind of energy cannot be faked. It's developed. It's chosen. It's earned through mindset and commitment. This is your reminder that you don't need 100 victories under your belt to start moving like a winner. You just need the right belief system. You need to show up like someone who respects themselves enough to own the space they're in. So the next time life gives you an opportunity that feels bigger than you, don't shrink, don't hesitate. Don't disqualify yourself. Instead, breathe, center yourself, and act as if you've done this before. Not because you're pretending to be something you're not, but because you've already decided to become everything you were always meant to be. Your actions will always follow your identity. Before you can consistently perform at a high level, you must see yourself at that level. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your self-image. That's why it's not enough to work on your habits or your skills. You must also work on your internal narrative. Who do you believe you are? What kind of person do you believe deserves success? When you begin to shape your identity around strength, resilience, and readiness, your behavior will begin to reflect that. So much of life is shaped not by our ability, but by our belief in that ability. There are people with less talent than you, less knowledge than you, who are further ahead simply because they chose to believe they belonged there. They walked in without asking for permission. They acted like they were already part of the conversation. And because of that posture, they were treated like they belonged. That's how powerful identity is. It becomes the lens through which you view yourself, and ultimately the standard by which you live. You have to train your mind to match your mission. If you want to operate on a higher level, you must first adopt the mindset of someone who lives there. It means thinking with clarity, choosing with conviction, unstepping forward without needing constant reassurance. Not arrogance, it's alignment. Arrogance. It's you recognizing that the vision in your heart was never random. It was placed there for a reason. And if it was placed there, it means you're also equipped to grow into it. This is where faith and focus meet. You must become the version of you that's already arrived in the future you dream of. Live from that place. Think from that place. Decide from that place. Because when your identity begins to shift, your reality starts to follow. And when you act as if you've already done this before, not only does the world start to believe you, but more importantly, you start to believe yourself. That's the beginning of transformation. Confidence is a language, and you don't have to shout to speak it. True confidence isn't about being the loudest in the room. It's not about dominating every conversation or flaunting your achievements. It's about being rooted. It's about being rooted. It's the quiet certainty that speaks through your body language, your tone, your timing. It shows in how you enter a space, how you handle uncertainty, and how you respond when things don't go as planned. When you carry yourself with quiet strength, people notice. They lean in, not because you demand attention, but because your presence commands it. Every day you're sending signals to the world. You're communicating how much you believe in yourself without saying a word. The way you stand, the way you sit, the way you make eye contact, even the pace of your breath, it all speaks. And when your energy says, I've been here before, people trust you more. They believe in you more. Why? Because confidence builds credibility. When you act like you know what you're doing, even if you're still learning, others are more likely to give you the chance to grow into it. Confidence is not about faking something you're not. It's about revealing how wide you already carry. You don't need to wait until you feel 100% ready to begin operating like someone who is. The truth is, most people never feel fully ready. They move forward anyway. They trust that the confidence will grow with the experience. And more often than not, it does. Growth follows boldness. Courage trains competence. The moment you learn to speak the language of conviction, through your attitude, your poise, your calm under pressure, you become a leader in the eyes of others. And the most powerful thing about that is this. You don't have to have all the answers to be taken seriously. You just need to believe in your capacity to figure things out. Because when you speak and act with the quiet authority of someone who belongs, the world listens differently. And more importantly, you start listening to yourself with deeper belief. That's where real strength is born. Acting like you've done this before isn't about pretending to be something you're not. It's about preparing like someone who expects success. There's a powerful connection between confidence and preparation. When you take the time to prepare, to study, to sharpen your skills, you walk into situations with a deeper sense of calm. You're not guessing. You're not hoping. You're ready. And readiness creates a sense of natural confidence that doesn't need to be hyped. It just is. People often try to act the part without doing the work behind the scenes. But true presence isn't built in front of the audience. It's built in the quiet hours of practice, repetition, and intention. That's where greatness is formed. When no one is watching and you still choose to give your best, you build a foundation that can't be shaken by pressure or fear. You stop reacting and start responding. You don't need to fake experience because your preparation feels like experience. When you combine deep preparation with the mindset of someone who belongs, you become unstoppable. It's not enough to just hope for opportunities. You must prepare for them, because when the moment comes, and it will, you don't rise to the occasion. You rise to the level of your preparation. That's why champions prepare differently. They see every day as a rehearsal for the breakthrough that's coming. And when it comes, they're not surprised. They're ready. This kind of preparation doesn't just give you information. It gives you authority. You begin to trust yourself more. You stop second guessing. You move with greater clarity because you know you've put in the work. That's when your actions begin to look effortless. Not because they are, but because the effort was already made in that. So when you walk in and act like you've done this before, it's not arrogance. It's the natural result of quiet, consistent preparation. You're not faking anything. You're simply living up to the level you've worked. One of the greatest shifts you can make is learning to operate without needing constant approval. When you stop depending on external validation, you reclaim your power. You no longer wait for someone else to confirm your worth or to give you permission to move forward. You stop living for applause and start living from purpose. This is essential if you want to act as if you've done this before, because people who have done it don't walk around seeking confirmation. They know who they are. They've made peace with their value, regardless of who sees it. The need for validation keeps too many people playing small. It traps them in cycles of waiting, waiting for recognition, waiting for affirmation, waiting for someone to say, "Oh, you're good enough now." But you don't need that kind of permission. You don't need everyone to approve your vision. If you're always looking outward to feel worthy, you'll always feel like you're behind. But when you learn to validate yourself, when you learn to trust your voice, your path, and your preparation, you begin to show up with a different kind of strength. You walk into every space like you were meant to be there. It's not about being closed off to feedback or refusing to grow. It's about no longer being controlled by the opinions of people who don't see the full picture. You know your journey. You know the sacrifices you've made. You know the hours you've put in. And even if no one else claps for you yet, you clap for yourself. That's what self-leadership looks like. It's choosing to hold yourself to a high standard, not because anyone else demands it, but because you've already decided who you are and what you're capable of. You don't have to wait until you're celebrated to believe in yourself. The belief has to come first. When you act as if you've done this before, it's because you've already had the internal conversation that says, "I belong, I'm ready. You don't wait for a crowd. You move with conviction, even if the only one cheering right now is you. You have to stop treating your own excellence like a surprise. The moment you accomplish something meaningful, don't act like it's a fluke. Don't brush it off or water it down. Own it. Embrace it. Normalize it. Because the truth is, greatness shouldn't feel foreign to you, but should feel familiar. For you train your mind to accept success as part of your identity, not an occasional accident. It becomes your new standard, not a rare event. Too many people treat their breakthroughs like exceptions. They achieve something significant, then immediately downplay it or wonder if they just got lucky. That mindset quietly tells the brain, this isn't who I really am, but it is who you are. The win you just experienced is not a glitch. It's a glimpse of what you're capable of on a consistent basis. When you normalize excellence, you shift from chasing greatness to living in it. You stop being shocked by your own power and start being anchored in it. You were never meant to just visit success. You were meant to live there. That doesn't mean every day will be perfect or that you won't face setbacks. But it does mean that you stop allowing doubt to be your default. You stop questioning whether you deserve to win. You stop acting like success is reserved for someone else. Acting as if you've done this before is a decision to carry yourself with the mindset of someone who is no longer negotiating with their calling. This is not about arrogance. It's about alignment. It's about rising up and saying up and saying, this room, this opportunity, I'm not shocked to be here. I've been preparing for this. When you adopt that posture, you stop shrinking. You stop apologizing for wanting more. And you start walking with the quiet authority of someone who knows they're built for this. So don't downplay your excellence. Don't act new to your own greatness. Hold your head high. Breathe it in and step forward like this is just the beginning, because it is.